What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, hope you are doing well. This is my episode review from last night's episode, season 2, episode 19, entitled Severing All Ties. If you watch my live stream, then you know that I'm not a fan of this episode. This is one of the worst episodes of Sisters I've ever seen. Look, I know in the past, especially this season, like I've noticed that anytime I say something, man, this episode sucked, a lot of people are like, Jeremy, what episode were you watching? It was great. I didn't think this scene was too long, or I don't think this person was out of character. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but I honestly could not tell you anything aside from two slight things that made this episode worth watching. Number one, Danny calling out Sabrina and Karen for saying, hey, y'all are just saying what I said at the bank, but y'all told me to shut up, so I ain't saying nothing now. And then number two, the surprise Jasmine cameo at the end of the episode. Those were the only two things I liked about it. Seriously. The only two things I liked about the damn episode. So, before moving forward, let's take a moment to hit that thumbs up button to, show you like the video. Also, hit subscribe. Click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. So, with that being said, let's try to get the percentage up on the channel for the number of people who are subscribed who watch the content. We're about like at 20-ish%. Let's try to get to 40 by the end of the month. It's just simple. If you subscribe, or excuse me, if you watch my content, hit subscribe. That's all you got to do. All right, so this episode, and again, I was on my live stream. I think my thumbnail had the on the thumbnail for the live stream, I had like a frown and a thumbs down, like I was holding my thumb down. That's because this episode was trash. So there were just way too many extended scenes, scenes that just dragged on for no reason. And I just felt like Tyler was like, hey guys, we got 3 episodes left. We need to make this episode last as long as we can. So, if you could just make silly faces and just go back and forth with the dialogue, that'd be great. And that's what it did. So it starts off with Maurice and Q. Q is apparently a stripper dancer who lives with his mom and about to go on a round board with the guy in there who is allegedly Calvin, but I didn't buy it because I feel like we would have seen or at least heard Calvin, so I don't know. He's naked. I mean, this was a funny scene because for once it was somebody kind of flirting with Maurice as opposed to Maurice overdoing it with his banter. But the scene had some funny moments, but again, it just dragged on for way too long. Then we go over to Karen and him doing that QRS, him doing the alphabet out again. The scene had a couple of funny moments, but they just killed the joke by just running it way too long. And let's be real, if this was BET Plus, my lord, he would have been naked. We would have seen it all. All right, so Karen and Aaron are in bed again, just a wasted scene. Long story short, he goes to sleep on the couch because Karen is being tempted because he's hot, and then the whole celibacy thing. And then she ends up calling Sabrina, telling her to stop by the salon in the morning, to kind of, reconvene on the whole Andy situation. And Aaron kind of overhears because he's about to use the bathroom and says, hey, are you sure that's a good idea? Is that going to make, Andy, more upset? And because in the last episode, he was the one that made the solid point of, hey, that's your friend. But at the same time, trying to convince her not to do something might have the opposite effect. Like, she's a grown woman. She can make her own choices. And, and she was like, well, yeah, but she's my friend. It's like, hey, you're right. She's your friend. So that's the end of that. Andy gets flowers from Gary. Nicholas, the doorman, he stops by, and then she says that, to take the flowers back down. And Nicholas is like, well, hey, it's not my business, but, if you want, we can take Gary off of the list of people who are approved to come up to your apartment. That way you don't get any more flowers. And it's like, you're right, that's none of your business. Okay, well, you're just a beautiful woman, and excuse me. It's like, hey, you're a beautiful woman, and I think you deserve better. Yeah, bye-bye, nosy ass. Well, remember, because what did Nicholas say a couple episodes ago? What was it? His Jasmine was the one handing out flyers and whatnot, spreading rumors. So basically, yeah, everybody at work knows about Andy. Everybody in the building knows about the Andy Gary situation. So if I were her, I'd just move. Okay, so after that, Andy tries to get on, tries on the ring, does a few poses with it. It gets stuck. She tries to use butter to slip it off. She makes a phone call. It's called a forever diamond. Apparently, the groom's ring has a key that will unlock the bride's ring. It won't cut off circulation fully, but basically when you put it on, it's almost like, what do they call those? The Chinese finger traps? Like those, they're like the little, what like a coin roller is, like a penny roller, those cardboard things you put pennies in. Yeah, back in the day before Coinstar. Now, I don't know if people know what that is now, but before Coinstar, that's what we had to do. Roll up change and, take it to the bank or pay with stuff in pennies. It was just, it was something else. But in any case, to me, I thought this was pretty twisted because those rings really do seem to represent Gary. It's like once he has his grip around you, it gets tighter and tighter. And I'm like, damn, is the ring like a personification of Gary's character? Like, he wraps his arms around you and he keeps squeezing until the circulation's cut off. Because remember, he did the same thing to Andy and she passed out. So believe it or not, I don't blame Gary. I don't blame Gary in this situation at all. You could argue, well, it was manipulation and he put he ain't say nothing about the ring and that's why he can't, she can't get it all. No, I don't think so. He never forced her to put the ring on. He said, just hold on to the ring. You don't have to make a decision right now. This is a lot. You can get the ring back at any time you want. So I don't think it was manipulation. Honestly, that's what I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but maybe it's the long game of, maybe this was Gary's plan as an excuse/reason to see Andy again. It's like, oh, I know she's going to put the ring on, and when she can't get it off, she's going to want to see me, and then she'll be so full of emotion over the excitement, and then we'll have sex or something. That's absolutely true. That could happen. But again, nobody made her put the ring on. So after that, we go over to Zach and Fatima in one of the most wasteful scenes of the episode. Long story short, they just finished having sex. They have sex talk about, oh, you're fit. Oh, it's like, I never had it like this before. Like, you go one way, we're so in sync. And then they start, making weird sex faces at each other. Oh, your face is like this. But the only thing is, she's like, yeah, it's about tearing you up as opposed to tearing you down. And are we getting serious? Just keep doing what you're doing. So then they go take a shower together, and he promises not to get her hair wet. So then the girls reconvene at the salon. So it's Karen, Sabrina, and Danny. And it's just the whole thing about, oh, well, she has the ring. I don't know if she said yes. I don't know if she said no, but she's seeing Gary again. And it's Sabrina going back and forth. Well, we need to stop her. We need to do this. We need to go over there right now and stop her. And then Karen's like, no, we can't do that. She's going to be angry. We need to come up with a plan. And Danny, why aren't you saying anything? And then Danny's like, well, I tried to tell you all this at the bank, but y'all told me to shut up, so I'm not saying anything. Again, one of my favorite parts of the episode because she's absolutely right. She tried to say the exact same things, and it wasn't even in a negative way. She was just telling Andy, you deserve better than Gary. But no, go back to the, episode 13? It was the episode, remember the show went on the mid-season finale, and then it came back, and it was that first scene. It was Danny telling Andy as Gary and Aaron left the bank that you deserve better, girl. Don't worry about it. But no, Andy's just sitting there pouting. And then Sabrina and Karen are all, coddling her. It's like, Danny, not now. And it's like, okay, fine. So I feel like Danny was the audience in the episode. I honestly feel like she was on point. I agree wholeheartedly with what she was saying. So long story short, they just agreed to go over to Andy's house together after work. And Danny's like, fine, yeah, I'll go, but I ain't going to say nothing. And I agree, because anytime she tries to speak the truth, they try to shut her up. So I don't blame her. Then Maurice is talking to Q. It's like as Maurice, he's dressed for work. Q's come out. He's ready to go. And apparently he just met, Calvin is his name? And no, that's not Calvin in that room. and he just kicks him out. Again, there's nothing to this scene. I did think, though, what's counterclockwise? Boy, get the hell out of here. That was actually pretty funny. So Zach and Danny are at work. Zach is mad about being arrested. Danny's like, well, I think you should just talk to her yourself. No, I agree with Zach. This was the only scene of the episode where Danny wasn't giving bad advice, but at the same time, I disagree with her. Like, I agree with Zach. I wouldn't want to have a damn thing to do with Karen at all. That's it. I mean, that's honestly it. Yeah, that was a good scene. So then we go to the bank, and Jacoby, bitch, what's up, bitch? He apologizes, and it was just a cringy scene. I mean, I really don't have anything else to add to it. Apparently, he tries to get on good terms with Maurice, but again, I could have cared less about this scene. And here's where the episode really takes a turn for the worse. So Sabrina comes in. She's all shaky about the big thing she saw from Jacoby. Now, I'm not sure about the last episode. I don't think Jacoby ever unzipped and showed Sabrina, but she felt it when they hugged and she could see the bulge. So I don't think that, she actually saw it, but I don't really know. But in any case, Maurice is just, stunned and jealous, which I find funny. You got allegedly Calvin in this queue, and now you got Jacoby with Sabrina. Then we have Sabrina learning about this Q, and then it's like, wait, is he bisexual or what? So she leaves the most ridiculous, nasty voicemail for Calvin. My whole thing is like, okay, so now Sabrina decides to call Calvin when a few episodes ago Maurice was getting on her butt about the whole playing games thing. It's like, if you want to call Calvin, just call him. No, I don't think I will. He can call me first. And now you want to call and just be rude as hell. So then after that, we got Danny calling Karen about the arrest just to make sure, Zach's out, right? Wait, how'd he get out? Oh, I don't know. Must have been his new boo or something. But either way, he's happy because I think that's what Zach told Danny to tell. Like, look, I'm not talking to Karen. So if you tell her anything, I'm not going to tell you everything I'm got going on. Just know I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about it. So, Karen's kind of confused about that. And, Danny's like, did you check the signatures to make sure it was Zach? And then she just rushes her off the phone. So Calvin comes to the bank and Sabrina kind of tells him off because Calvin's there and meets Maurice. Sabrina's on break or something like that. And he's pissed off because I'm like, Calvin, Maurice, I ain't got time for these damn games. Tell me what's going on. And right then and there, we could have figured out that, it seems clear that Calvin was not the one in the room. But at the same time, it's a situation where that Sabrina comes in, hears what was being said, and she gives the most hypocritical speech I have ever heard from a character in one of these shows. She is on a soapbox about being honest, being truthful, hiding things, and I'm like, Sabrina is the last person to try to tell someone about being honest. Hold that thought. So we got Andy driving to work, and the ring is, obviously still stuck to her finger. She calls Gary, and he's driving. I'm going to be real here. I would have thought that he was in the vehicle right behind Andy because, we see, it's obviously like a green screen or whatever, and, Andy's in traffic. I'm like, I bet money Gary is like right behind her. But in any case, they go back and forth about the ring, and he's like, hey, well, I can meet you in person to do it. No, you can't come to my job. How about this? I'll park outside. Fatima can come down to get the ring and unlock yours, and we'll be good. It'll take about 30-ish minutes. Okay, so Andy gets to work, and then the surprise Jasmine comes out with two other girls ready to fight her in the parking lot. And I'm thinking to myself, Jasmine, remember the last time you tried to brawl with somebody in the parking lot and you ended up being tossed over the garage? Yeah, this might not end up too well. Even though Andy is outnumbered, you never know. So going back to Sabrina, I wanted to hop back to that first because I got a lot more to say about it. During the entire, not even relationship, but the time that Calvin and Sabrina spent together, during the first half of season 1, I was getting annoyed with Sabrina because she was all whiny and she was more concerned about what other people thought about Calvin and if he's gay or not, even though he told her he's open-minded. You're the one who decided to be with him. So then in the back half of season 1, Calvin was the one acting like a complete asshole. But then they kind of reconvened during the beginning of season 2 somewhat. And when he asked her to be exclusive, like, a relationship, she said no, because I think at that time she got a phone call from Danny, and it was about the rumor that, hey, so-and-so, Buttlicker Buttlicker saw Calvin doing drugs in the bathroom. So instead of just asking Calvin outright and right there in front of him, because they're in bed together, if he does drugs, she decides not to be in a relationship. So she let somebody's a rumor about Calvin, influence her decision not to be in a relationship. So he tries to move on. And now all of a sudden, and remember when she never really, I wouldn't even say the word confront, but asked about these rumors, she decides, oh, Maurice, if he's living with you, then get him to take a drug test to see if he's clean. And it's like, what? So then after that, you hear another rumor that he was in bed with another man all night doing stuff, and you leave a hypocritical message about truth and honesty. Calvin has, and excuse the phrase here, but he's been straightforward with Sabrina this entire time. She has never been straight with him. Isn't that ironic? So she can miss me with that. And I love me some Sabrina, but this was just an awful episode. I don't think Danny was the only one who came out of this episode looking good in regards to, character wise, and, just talking about the 4 women. I thought too many scenes were just dragged out. The dialogue was just, it was, I think we've become more, what's it called? Like a white noise or something, like if you become accustomed to like a clock ticking in the background of your room or something like that. Repetitive dialogue has become a bit of a white noise in Tyler Perry shows because it's so predictable. But this episode was notoriously bad for just the same old dialogue and scenes being dragged out for no other reason than to meet the 40-minute runtime. So I give this episode a 2 out of 10. I mean, severing all ties probably means like, Zach severing ties with Karen. Sabrina doing the same thing with Calvin. Oh yeah, I'm going to delete your number and block you right there. Yeah. And then when he left, like, enjoy Calvin, who she really is. I mean, that was just awful. Just awful. I wasn't mad at Andy in the episode. I'd feel some kind of way too if, just a random person who works at the, apartment or hotel or whatever. I mean, apartment complex or loft, felt like they need to input something about my personal business, but then again, it really isn't all that personal. But he did make a valid point, because if the flowers continuously come in, it is, somewhat their duty to kind of give a suggestion like, hey, if there's a continuation of stuff that comes that you don't want, do you need us to take them off the list? So there you go. Yeah, but I don't think I was too harsh on the episode. I want to be completely honest, because this was definitely filler. But we only got 3 episodes left, so hopefully things get better. But it's going to take a bit to, make up for this episode, because it was just bad. Not just the whole Sabrina thing going off on Calvin, off of like, allegations, if you will, rumors. But this episode was just bad overall in the sense of dragging on and repetitive dialogue. So with that being said, let me know your 2 cents in the comment section below. And if you would like to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.